Alright, welcome everyone. This is PapaSean, this is Stellaris, and I'm showing you how to get started and your first few steps here in Stellaris. So first off, we are in the opening screen. We got the new game and multiplayer game. We can also load a game. So those are the three main options you're going to be using mostly. The credits and settings exit are all pretty self-explanatory. Settings, you can change your display a little bit, your sound, gameplay. You might want to turn down some of the volume and the music. I've found that to be a little overbearingly loud. But everything else can be pretty much left alone and enjoy the game. So we're going to go ahead and click on New Game, and that'll bring us in here. And the neat thing is you can select any of the previously created species, but you're not limited to that in any way. As you can see, the little phoenix symbol here, these are all the different factions that I've created. And so you can change how they look, their governments, all the different species traits. Like for example, the Legion is one that I created. It's like a bug looking dude. I had them start with lasers. You get three choices: lasers, missiles, or ballistics. I like lasers because it shreds armor. I like wormhole travel. It's more advanced because you have to create wormhole generators, but it allows you to travel much more quickly, and I find that very important later on. So you'll learn how to use these if you just go ahead and get started with wormhole. The others are kind of a handicap because you're slower, and yeah, they're a lot easier to learn and move around, and you have flexibility. But the wormhole travel you're going to find is extremely fast and able to help you flank and outmaneuver your opponents. Alright, so I went with repugnant. This actually hurts me. It makes the happiness of other species lower. I went with enduring. This gives my leaders an extra 30 years, and why this is important is because the leaders die over time, right? Each second could be a day, depending on the speed that you're moving at. And so in 30 seconds you move through a month, and then if these guys only live 60 years before they start dying on you, well then you don't have the leaders around very long. They won't gain the proper levels to be helpful to you. And so by giving them a little bit of a boost on their lifespan will have a tremendous impact on your game. I went with extreme adaptability. So these guys have a plus 20% habitability. You need to have a 40% or higher in order to colonize a planet with that species. Well, since most planets are 20 that are not necessarily suited for your species, this gives a bonus of plus 20, so that means you can habitate almost every planet out there except for those that start out as dead planets with 0 as their habitability. Alright, these guys are sedentary, so I can't move them around. There's cost to migrating, and there's a speed in moving them from planet to planet. And so I didn't really care. They'll move on their own if I free them up to do so. So I'll just let them move around as they choose. And my guys are weak. Their army damage is reduced by 20%, which is pretty heavy, and their minerals are reduced by minus 5%. Not a big deal, because these guys are fanatic xenophobes. That means they have an alien slavery tolerance of 100%. Xenophobia is plus 15%. That means I'm not going to be liked by any of the other species, and I'm not going to like them. And my planetic border extrusion is 30% with a maximum rivalries of plus 3. So this enables me to go to war with multiple factions. It enables me to expand how much territory I can control per planet. And being extremely adaptive means I can go to lots of different planets, and I can enslave all other species I encounter if I defeat them. And my people aren't going to get upset because they accept alien slavery. I can't enslave my own people, but I can enslave anybody I conquer, and then I don't care about their happiness, right? Other species happiness minus 1% because they're my slaves, and so they're just going to be unhappy slaves. So we're going to go ahead and create this new game with the Legion. Let's back up here. So rather than create new, I want to select them. That's the button, right? So you select the guy you want to make. Create new allows you to create a new empire. I don't want to do that right now. We are Legion. I'm going to select that. It allows me to modify the changes to the game here. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a lot of AI empires. Let's reduce the advanced. So if you want a tough game where there's some advanced AI out there that might kick your butt because they're stronger and that you have to overcome their strength, that's you can up the challenge by increasing that. Max fallen empires, these are just like unmanageably large empires that won't expand into your territories, but they will kick the crap out of you if you don't follow their rules. So if you want to have like an overlord bully out there, like if you've watched the Stargate series and you remember the aliens that they encountered, how powerful they were. These are like the fallen empires. Only they're not going to conquer any territory. They can still come to your capital and wipe out all the structures you have. If you, for example, go to war with someone they tell you not to, or habitate a planet they say is forbidden, that kind of thing. We'll leave the planets as they stand at 100%. All the other stuff can remain the same. Advanced neighbors, it doesn't really matter because we have them off by getting rid of the advanced AI start. Empire placement can be in clusters, or it can be random. I'm just going to leave it as a default cluster, and we'll go ahead and play. This will launch the game, and when you get started, you don't panic. It's not moving. You're not falling behind. There's a pause button at the top right. So we're currently paused. And when you're playing a single player game, anytime a little box comes up to talk to you and like give you a dialogue, there is so much like backstory and text to read in this game that you can click through, or you can just go ahead and read it. So in this, they come up and they kind of put the backstory as to what I'm doing, why I'm here, how far my species has gotten. So basically, we just found the means of creating wormhole generators so that we can travel beyond our solar system. So it's opened up the galaxy to us, right? So now we're going to start exploring our own solar system, which is where we are right now, the host system. I'll go ahead and hit begin, and don't worry, it still hasn't started the game yet. We're still paused. We're still on the year 2200, day 1, month 1. And if we zoom out, this is the entire galaxy. So the bottom center shows the galaxy map. So we can see, zoom in, move around. This is a spiral star cluster, so this galaxy, this is a dead space in the middle. So you can see star to star is generally how people travel. So if you were to have hyperspace, there'd be a set lane that you could go. You wouldn't be able to go any way you wanted. And then if you had faster than light, you can go from star to star to star to star to star all the way around, make your path. But the benefit of the wormhole travel is that I can jump from this star to anywhere within this orange dotted ring. So this one generator allows me to zip right to this star. I don't have to pass through 3 different stars. And there could be dangerous stuff in these different stars that I want to bypass, and I can do that with the wormhole generator. Okay, so this is the basic view. We can close the galaxy map and it brings us right back to the solar system. If we double click on the star, this one's called host because that's what I called it when I created the species. It brings me inside that one star. So inside one star is where I have all these different planets to explore, and I can do that by selecting the science ship, which has a science officer, and then I can right click and survey, and that will survey the star and tell me what goodies it has. So it's kind of neat. This game lets you explore and find different things. It might have resources available to it. There might be some special trait, things like that. You can't colonize a planet unless you have surveyed it to see what's on it. So we'll want to go ahead and survey all the different planets to see what goodies are there. I don't see any habitable planets in my immediate area, but that's another way to find them, would be to send ships out to this border here. So what we can do is create another science ship. And again, we're paused, so it's not going to progress. It says it's going to take 60 days to complete. And you saw that it cost me 71 minerals, and that 60 is the time. The resources are up at the top left. We've got energy, minerals, and influence. Influence allows you to conquer other planets. It allows you to pay for edicts and different things that you want, policy changes. You can add additional generals or leaders to your group. It all costs influence points. When you build structures, it's going to be mineral, and it might be energy as well. And you can zip to your planet. So I've got planets, one of many is the planet type, so I can click on the surface and we can see what's going on here. So some food and things, it's just basic moving around. You get the planet summary. You can see that we've got 3 food. Anytime you're in the positive, your population growth is going to increase. Anytime you're in the negative, there's going to be penalties. All right, so you have to feed each one of these guys that grows, and they will have babies and expand their territory. So you want to go ahead and build like a hydroponics farm. Will give an additional food, and then you can put somebody in there to man that, and that will help your growth. Some other things that you need to do right as you get started is you see these icons at the top. This is your physics, society, and engineering research. So you're going to want to go ahead and assign research in these tracks. You can remove your scientists by right-clicking on them, and then you can click on the scientists. The reason you do that is you might have different traits here, like research speed for rocketry, starcraft, and computing. So you can assign them to the proper role based on what they're going to be doing. So you just select them, and then they fill the role. So this guy's already in a spot, but I can hit yes, and it bypasses that, sticks him a new one. So you just left-click, select them. Now we can select from the randomly generated. Well, I should say randomly. It's not necessarily random the first when you first get started here, but you always want to go with colony ship because that's how you get more planets. And then you can pick whatever else you want here. I like to go for mineral storage capacity. Alright, so that will give us the ability to unlock mining network 2. That way you can generate more minerals from your planets. Alright, so this orange is the area that I can control. So any of these systems in here, anything that I explore and I find minerals or energy on these areas, I can build different structures to go ahead and start harvesting those. So you're going to want to expand your territory, and you do that by planets that can be colonized, or you can also do that by taking your construction ship, and there's some different options here. All you have to do is right-click on the star, and you can build mining stations, research stations, or build frontier outposts. Or you can select directly on the planet that has any one of those things, and then you can build directly on them. Right now these are not explored and they don't have any resources, but if there was a mineral node here, I could right-click and then select build station while I had the construction ship selected. Alright, so there's a lot going on. This game can be a little overwhelming, but just take it in stride. There's a few things that you can just like follow through on the I mean, if you were to follow through with the computer telling you what to do each step, it'll take a little bit longer, but you'll get to understand the game. But here's some quick ideas as to what to do. A few other icons that you might want to know is that here's your naval capacity. This is only for military ships. You can create as many science and construction ships as you want. The planet's 1 of 5. Don't worry, you can have more than that. I'll talk about that in sectors, in a sector discussion. And then we've got the engineering, research, society, and physics. So on the planet side, I'll tell you, you can have as many planets as you want. But you can only have 5 that you directly control unless you have different governments that increase that number from 5 to whatever the government bonus is. So all the other planets that you control will be within sectors. And again, look at a video I'm going to create for sectors and you'll understand how that works. Alright, well this should pretty much get you started in the game. You're going to want to take your science ship, you just right click on that star, hit survey system, and then you can hold down shift, right click, and you can survey an additional system. You see how you can queue them up. So as he finishes one system, it'll go to the next. Because it's a wormhole generator, he has to go back to host, and then he flies out to another star. And then the construction ship, you just want to create these different mining stations as you go. If you wanted to expand your territory, you could build the frontier outposts, but what's important to note about these is that they cost 1 influence per turn, and you only get a few influence per turn as it stands, so you probably don't want to build very many frontier outposts or you'll find yourself in a deficit. Alright, well that is the first steps on getting started, and then you go ahead and hit the on pause and your normal speed will resume. You can increase it all the way up to fastest or bring it all the way down to slowest, and then of course there's pause. Alright, well I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been helpful for you guys. I'll put out some other videos on Stellaris and getting to know the early steps. I'll kind of keep it in a sequence here. We'll use the same species. Have fun. Catch you next time.